Hello and welcome to 2021. We are here with another reaction to Doctor Who for an all-new episode. It feels like it's been ages since we did The Timeless Children. And since then I've also rewatched Series 12 again. And if you want to hear my updated thoughts on some of those episodes and just the series as a whole, in the Advent calendar on day 23, Callum and I did an updated series ranking. But enough about that. We are here to react to the festive special, New Year's special, Revolution of the Daleks. So the last time we were there, it was the Timeless Children, and the Doctor was locked in a prison which looks like to be either Shada or the Shadow Proclamation, I would guess, by the Jadoon. Captain Jack is somewhere, because we know we saw from the trailers, and also because he was hinted in Fugitive, and the companions have been left on Earth with a TARDIS. Personally, what I think, well, having rewatched The Timeless Children, I have grown to severely dislike the episode and what it did, and all sorts of things to do with it. And I am very skeptical about Chris Chibnall. I mean, I have been since the start, since Series 11, but even more so now, considering that the two-part finale of Series 12 was probably one of my least favorite Doctor Who stories of all time, and has really left a sour taste in my mouth for Chris Chibnall as a showrunner. But, of course, this is a new year, a new episode, and this will bridge the gap between Series 12 and 13, so I will go into this episode with an open mind, but I would be lying to say if I wasn't at least a bit anxious. Given by the trailer, there looks to be possibly some issues already with continuity, but we'll just have to wait and see how he deals with that. We've also got Jack Robertson going to be in this episode, and there's all sorts of rumors flying around. I have to try and stay off Twitter where I can. But yeah, I would say that this should be an interesting viewing, because I would say I'm feeling very cold on Chris Chibnall at the moment. And yeah, because on one hand I am looking forward to watching this episode because it's new Doctor Who, but on the other hand, I'm kind of also dreading it a bit because I'm a bit scared as to what's going to happen next. But we'll see. Could be fun. And even, you know, in some instances in this era, even when there are episodes that have writing issues, I can often, you know, there's some episodes that I can actually enjoy and be entertained by, so even if there are some issues with this episode, I would hope that I would at the very least have fun watching it. It's going to be an extended runtime. It looks like it's going to be around 70 minutes long, which should be interesting. But yeah, if you are going into this video only looking for praise and for you know, admiration of the show, this video might not be for you. I'm going to try my best not to be too harsh on him, too harsh on the episode. I'll try and be as fair as I can, but at the end of the day, it's my reaction, and if I don't like something, then I will react to it accordingly. Having said that, if I like something, I will also react to it accordingly as well. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, here we go. Doctor Who, the 2021 New Year's special, Revolution of the Daleks. We've got the terrible fonts again. Oh, this is Resolution. I remember this. I haven't watched it since it aired. I think we needed this because I can barely remember the Resolution. Hang on a second.
Is everyone alright now?
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. The Dalek was thrown into space. Wasn't it? Or was it just the mutant that went out? I can't remember. The mutant came out and into the TARDIS, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, so the scrap's still there. I'm getting flashbacks to John Sim. I'm so hungry. Ah, definitely poison. And John Barrowman. Wait, this is 2 years ago. There we go. Right. Political, eh? spraying water.
Robotic with AI interface program for every.
Right. Dalek robot, so there's no organism in there. But what happens when the Daleks, the actual Daleks, find this?
Shall we talk in private?
God, Chris Chibnall's comedy is so
I
dry.
want them built and beta tested in my
I haven't forgotten. Right. Here we are. And there we have all the creatures in the prison. We even got, I think that's Meglos, isn't it?
Morning, Angela.
Ah. Does she have to go around that walk for the exercise?
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, number 4, Privet Drive, were proud to say that they were perfectly normal.
Harry Potter. That is a bit awkward though, thinking about it. And here we have Ryan and Graham. And this is the TARDIS, isn't it?
Assume that.
Mate, we've been back 10 months. We have to get on with our lives.
That's a long time.
And there's something
They
else.
haven't visited for 10 months? That's quite a long time. Not sure about that. Is this the Forest Room episode 1 of Series 11?
Go exactly to plan, did it?
I like that whole whatever you're doing, we're gonna stop your vibe.
He just let them go? Really?
Anywhere near an explanation from him.
Okay. This is almost like a Stephen Moffat story, making the Doctor wait. Really?
I forgot you were here.
What about this face? Remember this?
Captain Jack.
Hi!
Have you had work done?
You can talk and run.
To be fair, that is a
Here so I commit a few crimes.
that is earned.
Let's go.
Oh, he had it in his ass, obviously. This whole thing is kind of stupid though, because the the government's already dealt with Daleks before, like after the crack. Like what happened with bloody Winston Churchill? An entire Dalek organism. That's quite a task. That is really quite a task.
You didn't give it to Siberium.
It's a long story.
What?
I fixed it. Eventually. Just about. Sort of.
Ah,
Evading the judicial.
load of bollocks.
Find me my fam.
Ah,
That's what I've got so far.
ah.
Remnants of the Dalek we fought.
Hate that word.
You're met Jack, right?
Hey, Silver Fox.
We were worried about you.
Oh. Is this 3D printing?
Daleks.
Ah, and then the other Dalek mutant is making the mutants that will fit inside the Daleks.
You thought she wasn't coming back, right?
Oh, are they actually going for this?
It's worth the pain.
Okay, so I'm not sold on the potential Thasman thing that it's hinting at. But I have to say that might be the best scene in the episode so far. That was pretty good. Especially for Jack. I think Jack's been alright so far. Aside from a few weird plot device moments.
Do I?
Although, some of the comedy's been very flat, as expected.
Thank you for being mine.
Always.
Okay. Oh, sounds like a very electrical. Almost like a buzzing bee.
Always scoping. Always ready.
Ah, right. Call the actual Daleks. So it's going to be like a civil war. This is very instantaneous. As expected, I suppose. from old Chibbers. Can't they see the police box?
Get back in the TARDIS.
Oh my god. Please stop.
Stop talking weird, Graham.
Sorry.
Very senile as Graham. That is a cool shot.
In my TARDIS.
Why would you open that door? Oh wait, must be on purpose. Must be on purpose. Has to be on purpose.
Okay, 3, 2.
Knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. I knew we were gonna get this scene.
Well, then what are we waiting for?
Is this bloody Big Finish content?
But Morax. The mighty Bating.
The mighty
It's nothing
Pating.
more than
Okay, Revolution of the Daleks. So, I guess briefly, what I would have to say is that my overall issue with the Chibnall era is that it just doesn't invoke much out of me. It's all very surface level, very artificial, and I think it really does lack substance. Because you get an episode like this, where it has the skeleton of a plot, and it has all the bits and pieces you'd expect, but it's just... it just really lacks something special. Because I think this episode is not really that interesting. A lot of the ideas are really recycled. And you know, what I will say is that it wasn't as aggravating as some of his other episodes. Like, there were some areas that were toned down a bit, but even then, like, the characters weren't that interesting. The Daleks, you know, they were utilized in a way that we've seen before. We've seen these ideas done before, but much better and much more interesting. And there's also, the plot is very much driven by, you know, things that we didn't even know about, just random plot devices out of nowhere. And it just makes it feel a bit cheap. It's just cheap because there's just not much to it. It feels manufactured. It feels like a product of things we've seen before. You know, there's some interesting ideas somewhat somewhere, you know, within there, but a lot of them are quite derivative. And a lot of the moments that you would expect to be impactful just aren't, because they're not delivered particularly interestingly. And everything is very flat. And, like, you know, I wasn't necessarily bored watching the episode. I watched it and I consumed it. But I just don't take away anything from it. And, like, the last scene with the Graham and Ryan exit, it's just exactly what you'd expect. And it doesn't hold a lot of weight because the development of those characters is just so paper thin that it doesn't really have the punch to actually hit hard like it should. It's just very simple. I'm also very skeptical about the Thasman thing that it's hinting at. I will say that the scene with Jack, I liked his line delivery there. I thought that was interesting, but again, I'm still not sold on that. And it's just, yeah. This episode has some issues. It has some, you know, minor plot issues. It's not as broken, I don't think, as other Chibnall episodes, though having said that, the Daleks being part of the government has already happened with Winston Churchill in Series 5, so it's a bit odd that they didn't know about it already. And there's also some very just convenient things of the plot, like things are just, there's a lot of shortcuts. A lot of shortcuts that were taken to piece this together. But it's just... yeah, I don't have any passion towards the Chibnall era, really, apart from, there's a few episodes I like, but the Chibnall stuff itself, the showrunner meat, it's just not there. It's really lacking. It leaves me with hardly anything to go on. It's going to be an interesting review, I suppose, when we talk about it, but yeah, I can't get into it. So on this initial viewing, I suppose I could say it's just fine. It'll be interesting maybe down the road when I rewatch it or discuss it with some other people how they thought about it. But it's just that it's just so average, as is with Chibnall stories. It's so average. Not many creative ideas. The plot has a lot of shortcuts. The characters are just very paper thin. And you know, design-wise, there were some nice shots, I suppose, but it's just so empty. It's just so hollow, so vapid. And it's just not very interesting. So, I suppose nothing's really changed. And, yeah, it's all very predictable. And predictability is not necessarily a bad thing, because when you've watched something that you've already seen before and you know what's going to happen, predictability is obviously going to be a factor. But there are things that you can rewatch and still sink your teeth into the story despite knowing what's going to happen. With this one, it's just not much to it. It's very bland, very generic, very hollow, very surface level, and it's just fine. It's just not really my Doctor Who. So yeah, I don't have much to say about it, to be honest. I'm just, once again, I'm just uninspired by Chibnall and the way he does Doctor Who. It's just, the show could be so much better. It could be so much better than it is, but he just plays it way too safe sometimes. Obviously, the Timeless Children being the previous episode was way too dangerous, and it fucked it up. But with this one, it was just so bleh. And yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. This is what Doctor Who has become. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the story, and I will go more in depth when we get into reviews and potentially EDARs. And I'm sure Adam and Callum and others will have many things to say about the story. Yeah, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you next time.